Hey, third graders and families, welcome to week 4. I am going to be going over the reading skill for this week, which is just a continuation of our retelling skill from last week. So last week, our focus was creating that graphic organizer based on those key story elements, knowing that we have characters, setting, our problem or conflict, our main key events, and then our ending or resolution. This week, we're going to take what we practiced last week with our graphic organizer and turn all of those notes into one paragraph. Now, all you're going to need to complete your activity this week is your graphic organizer that you turned into your teacher and had reviewed so that you could make changes or adjustments that you needed to make so that you could successfully complete your work this week. So make sure that you have that organizer ready to go after you finish watching this video so that you are ready to tackle writing your paragraph. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our parent materials guide so that you can see everything else that you might need. I already mentioned that you're going to need that graphic organizer that you created last week, but we're going to go over using these retelling cards today, which have some really helpful phrases to use, what we call transition words and transition phrases to help you move from one sentence to the next in your paragraph. So those are there as a resource for you. Last week's notes about your 5-finger Retell organizer are also included here on your parent materials guide, as is a blank copy of your graphic organizer. Not loading right now, but it is there. As is a copy of the blank graphic organizer. Now that's included in case you would like to start fresh and use your graphic organizer on a brand new book. That is not required though. Your two options for completing this activity are 1, to take your graphic organizer from last week and use it to write a paragraph, or 2, start completely fresh with a new book, complete a new graphic organizer, and write a paragraph based on that new organizer. Either option is fine. So why don't we go ahead and dive into some practice with composing a paragraph. All right. So here in front of me, I have a picture of the graphic organizer that we created last week based on the 3 little pigs, and a paragraph that I have already written about that graphic organizer. I'm going to go ahead and read the paragraph to you, and then we're going to go through it step by step to see how I took all of my notes from my graphic organizer here and put it into my paragraph here. So let's read. The book, The 3 Little Pigs, is about 3 pig brothers and a very hungry wolf. It takes place throughout one day and at each of the pigs' houses. The main problem of the story is that the wolf was hungry and wanted to eat the pigs. In the beginning, each pig builds their own house. One is built of straw, one is built of sticks, and one is built of brick. Then the wolf finds the straw house, blows it down, and the little pig runs away. Next, he finds the house of sticks, blows it down, and that pig runs away. Eventually, he makes his way to the house of bricks, where all 3 pigs are hiding. He tries and tries to blow it down, but he can't do it. In the end, the wolf goes hungry, and the 3 pigs stay safely inside the brick house. All right, so that is my 5-finger Retell paragraph based on my graphic organizer. When you are writing your paragraph, it's very important that you think through how you're going to include each finger of the Retell. So let's start with characters. You're going to want to start your paragraph by introducing the characters of the story. I did that in my very first sentence, as you can see here. Not only did I include the title of my book, but I also mentioned the characters that I had listed. So I see here in my graphic organizer 3 pigs and the wolf. So in my sentence, the book, The 3 Little Pigs, is about 3 pig brothers and a very hungry wolf. So I included my 3 pigs and the wolf, and I added a couple of descriptive details, like that the pigs were brothers and that the wolf was very hungry. Next, I needed to think about including the setting of my story, which I wrote down as throughout a day at the pigs' houses. So if we take a look at sentence number 2, you'll see it says it takes place throughout one day and at each of the pigs' houses. I took my notes just like I had them and turned them into a complete sentence so that I have throughout one day and at each of the pigs' houses included in my paragraph. That third story element that we talked about on our organizer was the conflict or the problem. We had recorded that the problem is that the wolf was hungry and wanted to eat the pigs. So my third sentence is about the problem. The main problem of the story is that the wolf was hungry and wanted to eat the pigs. So there we have my main problem listed in my third paragraph. So you'll hopefully start to notice a pattern. Sentence 1 is that first story element. Sentence 2 was that second story element. And sentence 3 was my third story element. And that's a great way to get your paragraph started. There's your first 3 sentences right there. Now, moving forward through the paragraph is when I need to start talking about those key events. Now, I had several key events here listed on my graphic organizer. I needed to make sure I talked about them building their houses, about the wolf finding the straw house, and about the wolf finding the stick house before he ends up at the house of bricks where the story ends. So I needed to make sure that I wrote that in the correct order that the events happened in the story. And I used some transition phrases to help me do that. In the beginning, each pig builds their own house. One is built of straw, one is built of sticks, and one is built of brick. Then the wolf finds the straw house, blows it down, and the little pig runs away. Next, he finds the house of sticks, blows it down, and that pig runs away. Eventually, he makes his way to the house of bricks where all 3 pigs are hiding. He tries to blow it down, but he can't do it. So those sentences are all what I took from my graphic organizer: building the houses, finding the house of straw, finding the house of sticks, and then making it to the brick house, trying to blow it down, but not being able to do it. I've now swapped out my graphic organizer to tell you a little bit about this document that you can find in the Parent Materials Guide. These are 6 different words and phrases that you can use to help you retell a story. You'll notice at the top it says shared retelling cards. This is that really important word. We're retelling a story. Each of these words or phrases helps us to tell events in the correct order. You have phrases like in the beginning, next, the problem is, after that, then, and finally. To show you how I used those phrases in my paragraph, I have highlighted those event sentences, the ones I lifted from that 4th finger of our 5-finger retell. You'll notice here in the first sentence, I've used in the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and change that to a different color so we can keep track of it. In the beginning is one of our transition phrases, and that lets your reader know that that is the first thing that happened in the story. So in the beginning, each pig builds their own house. One is built of straw, one is built of sticks, and one is built of brick. I have another transition word here that tells my reader another event is about to be told in my paragraph, and that is the word then. Then the wolf finds the straw house, blows it down, and the little pig runs away. I'm noticing another transition word here in my paragraph, the word next. So we have in the beginning, then, next. And I pulled that from my list here, next. He finds the house of sticks, blows it down, and that pig runs away. I have another word listed here, and that is the word eventually. You'll notice that eventually is not listed on this piece of paper, but it is still a word that tells you another event is about to happen. So these are not the only transition words that you can use in your writing. There are plenty of others that I'm sure you can think of in your heads right now. Miss McCray chose to use the word eventually to let my readers know that we are coming close to the end of the story. Eventually, he makes his way to the house of bricks where all three pigs are hiding. He tries and tries to blow it down, but he can't do it. So there, I have used in the beginning, then, next, and eventually. Our final finger in our 5-finger retell is that ending or resolution. And that's where we tell the last thing of the story and the resolution for how it connects back to our conflict that was part of the 3rd finger of our retell. And that's this final sentence. The final finger, the final sentence. So in the end, the wolf goes hungry and the 3 pigs stay safely inside the brick house. So yes, I have used another transition phrase, but this transition phrase is reserved or set aside for this last sentence so that your reader knows that this is the end. So in the end, the wolf goes hungry and the 3 pigs stay safely inside the brick house. And that is how I used our transition phrases to help me compose the event part of my paragraph, because we know that our events are a part of that 4th finger of your retell and then a little bit part of that 5th finger of your retell. Let's review one more time how we put our paragraph together. Our first sentence needs to reflect the 1st finger of our retell, the characters. And that's exactly what we did here with this first sentence. Our first sentence is all about the characters of the story. Our second sentence should be about the setting, or where and when our story takes place. That's exactly what we did in our paragraph here. We talked about the setting of our story. The third sentence of our paragraph should tell our readers about the conflict or the problem of the story. That's exactly what we did here. We told them that the problem is the wolf is hungry. The next part of our paragraph should be all about the key events of our story. So that is our 4th finger of our retell. We included all of these events using our transition words and phrases that we turned red. The last sentence of our paragraph should reflect the ending and resolution of our story. So that 5th finger, the last finger of our retell, should be the last sentence of our paragraph, which is exactly what we have here. So you can see that we have 5 colors in our paragraph to represent the 5 fingers of our retell. Now, let's take what we learned looking at this paragraph and use it to write a new paragraph about our other story from last week, the cool bean.